Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stickity Stacks in this thing, baby, representing TKOG. And today I'm going to be coming at you guys with the Ancient Warriors list that people were asking me about. I did a combo tutorial with it because I was just like playtesting with it. Something re-sparked my interest in the deck, and I really just wanted to give it a chance. It's a really fun deck, and I like that there's so many different ways you could play it. But what I've been really rocking with lately is pure Ancient Warriors, which is probably the variant that I've played the least out of all of my Ancient Warriors variants. So this one's really good. I actually opted for Blind Sec in this format for multiple reasons. I felt like this deck had a decent coverage in the Flunder matchup. Decent being like it's really hard to play under Shifter, but when they don't have Shifter, you can just auto win. Like literally, testing against Flunders today, it was just insane. Like I was testing against Flunder today, and I've tested against Flunder before this deck, but like you have a really good Flunder matchup, like you have a really good combo matchup. You actually don't need your extra deck. The only card that I really make is either Double Dragon Lords or Verde Anaconda. The only card I've ever made besides that was literally Baguska. That's it. I barely go to my extra deck because I don't really need it, because my main deck offers the variety and the kind of like depth of interruptions that I really would want from extra deck monsters and generic cards that I could summon. The Ancient Warriors kind of cover that in the terms of spot removals, negations, board breakers, protection. You know, they have like this really cool like Six Samurai-esque kind of protection. You have like targeting protection, destruction by battle protection. It's just really good, and you can trade extremely well with this deck. And it's so good at breaking boards, and it has such good recovery, and it honestly is very consistent when you opt to go second. When you do not go second, you actually lose about 6 to 7 starters that really do help. With Tinky going to 1, it kind of hurt a little bit. So I just feel like the deck's just a lot more powerful going second. Going first is still really good. That's the purpose of the combo tutorial that I showed you guys. But this is my blind second list. Before we get into it, if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to my channel. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a dislike if you did not. If you want to support my channel in any way, shape, or form, you can join the Discord, which is a really big deal, because there's a lot of people in there that can help you, or you can help them, and vice versa. And it's a whole community outside of YouTube where you can connect with people with a similar passion as you. You can also become a member of my Patreon. There are 3 different tiers. Tier 2 is probably where it's at. Tier 2 is just going to give you the best benefits for probably the best price. It's $10 a month. You will get tutoring and mentorship from me. You'll get access to my side decks, and you'll also be able to pick my brain about certain things. Tier 3 has even more benefits, but every tier gets the same benefits as the tier before it and some, so it just stacks. With all that said, let's just get into it, you guys. This is the list. So organization. So I also got a lot of stuff done today when I hit I went down to the card shop to pick up the new Albest structure deck, and honestly, I've been saving up a lot, and I was like, I'm gonna treat myself, so I ended up getting an entire Despia deck. So I got everything. I'm not missing anything. I got Jesters, the structure deck, everything. So I'm going to be playtesting with Pure. I'm going to be splashing it in Dogmatica, Invoke, Shaddolls. I'm going to be splashing it in Pure Shaddolls. I'm going to be splashing it in Dragon Mates. I can literally even play it in Ancient Warriors. I mean, dude, it's legit just like, it's gas. So there's going to be so much more content just with that, because there's so much variety and just like how applicable that engine is, that there's definitely a lot of things I want to test. I also was able to get my own Flunder cards, so I'll be able to play with Flunderies more often, which is one of my favorite decks right now, because the deck I had before was borrowed. So, and I also have a revised list for that. So I got some stuff coming for you guys that's in the workings. But you guys know I like to test my stuff and get a little bit more experience under my belt before I make profiles, because I feel like it's more valuable when I'm speaking from experience than just saying what I think the deck can do. It's tried and true. But anyways, for starters, 3 Sun Mu. We have 3 copies of Lu Juan. We have also, I call this guy Admiral Zhao. If you guys have seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, that's what I call him. One of my very good friends actually explained to me that the lore and theme behind this deck is based on not just a game called Dynasty Warriors, but the Dynasty Warriors are also based on like an entire lore of real life people, which is legit. Like, I want to learn more about it, because their names these are real people, like in real life, in history. Like, they actually existed. It's kind of crazy. Their names are a little bit altered, but they're the same people, which is really lit. I want to learn more about the story behind this deck, because this deck's concept is actually really cool. It's well put together, and honestly, it's just not a bad deck. There's nothing really bad about it at all. It's just a really, really decent deck. It's strong in the right hands and under the right circumstances, but it's never, ever a bad deck. It's really powerful. We also have 3 visits and 1 Tinky. And for the weakest starter of the deck, 2 Fusion Destiny. It's more of a push, but it still gives you follow-up, and it gives you a play that you can make through hand traps. So, most notably, I would say that Sun Mu is the best card in the deck, without a doubt. Sometimes 3 visits is better, but Sun Mu just carries so much power. One of the benefits that actually happened today when I was playtesting, getting my practice in, people do not read cards, and they don't understand what this deck does. So when I normal summoned Sun Mu and triggered 3 visits, my Flundery's opponent didn't do anything, so I added Zhao Gong, the Virtuous right here, the Ingenious, and I activated his effect. He was like, I was like, response, he's like, no, I special summoned him, and on a separate chain, I triggered Sun Mu, targeted his Impin to bounce it to hand. He chained his Flundery's Trap, the Dreaming Town, and I activated, because I specialed this guy in defense to play around Impin, because the idea that I had was like, I'm going to 3 visits to get this guy, and if he doesn't respond, I'm just going to prevent him from activating his trap, and I'm going to bounce his Impin to hand. And I broke his whole board just with Engine. No hand traps, no nothing. So I summoned this guy in D. I triggered Sun Mu because another Ancient Warrior activated their effect, bounced Impin. This guy was summoned, he activated the trap, and I went ahead and chained him, sent 3 visits for cost, negated the trap, and I ulti K'd. It was crazy. I cleared the field, cut off his follow-up. He could still normal for turn, but I cut off his plays on my turn, and it was just game. The other cool thing is this deck actually has a lot of wins. Like, a lot of special summonable wind monsters that can just literally just out-barrier at you. Like, it's crazy. It's really, really good. But Sun Mu puts in a lot of work. He's a starter. He progressively breaks boards going second. He's in an eruption that you can end on. You can leave this normal summon on your field, and he'll put in a ton of work for you. Oftentimes, when I link to make double Dragon Lords, he is the Ancient Warriors that I choose to leave on the field, unless I'm just grabbing follow-up with double, and then going straight into Verde Anaconda to go into DPE, and then just have a follow-up that double gave me, which normally is just searching another Sun Mu. So I have follow-up off of my Celestial package, and I have Sun Mu also. So I have like 2 more ways to push, plus DPE being in rotation. So yeah, Sun Mu's an incredible card. Like I said, he is literally the best monster in your deck. He's just that powerful. For a normal summon to just carry that much weight for you, it's insane. To search your entire deck, be a powerhouse that he is, a 1800 B-Stick, a Water, which is really relevant, 1900 Tinky. Card is insane, you guys. Absolutely crazy. I even played under Skill Drain today when I was playing against True Draco Eldritch, because I used his effect to send his self for cost, because he can send any card from your hand or your field. It doesn't say except this card. It's just any card from your hand or your field. So I actually sent him for cost to play under Skill Drain, which is really, really cool. And then I went into double Dragon Lords, and I went that double Dragon Lord's effect to search. My opponent's like, you can't do that. I'm like, yes, I can. I can activate the effect on a Skill Drain. It just, quote, quote, is negated. I'm like, do you have a response? He's like, no. I'm like, chain double Dragon Lord's other effects, send his self for cost, bounce Skill Drain. I resolve my effect to bounce, and I resolve my effect to search. So really, really cool interactions under Skill Drain. As far as Virtuous goes, he's very similar to Sun Mu because he has the same cost sending any card. He can also send his self, which is very, very neat. He is a tour guide of the underworld for the deck. Basically, he's an e-tele. Any reference you want to make, he summons directly from the deck. But your opponent has to control more monsters than you, so he is only a starter if you go second. If you do not go second, that's 3 less starters, so your deck's automatically less consistent. You also don't get to play cards like Loyal Guan, and cards like Caldi become even less impactful. And there's sometimes just bricks that you just are unnecessary to play in your deck, so you cut them and you play more hand traps and stuff. But I knew that my deck didn't lose to Scythe. I don't play into Lancia. I don't need my extra deck. I don't care about the Wind Bear statue. I can out-impin with the normal summon. So I was like, what am I scared of? Like, why would I be a chicken and play hand traps when my engine can just break boards naturally? So the card's phenomenal. It honestly overperforms a lot. It's really, really good. It's a better starter than Sun Mu in that regard because it can tutor out Sun Mu. Sun Mu's just less situational and more convenient, but in a perfect world, Lu Zhuan is actually the best card in your deck because he gets access to everything, including what Sun Mu gets access to, and he lets you draw cards every single time you go in. It's crazy. Once you get East by South, declare attack, pop, draw, summon out Fearsome Zhang Wan, pop another card. It's just crazy. Like, I've OTK'd literally just by spamming out monsters from my main deck, no extra deck, nothing, and just killed under Scythe OTK Undersight, bro. Absolutely insane. Freaking baiting out that little Wandering Rider card. It's just insane. Admiral Zhao is a more situational starter, but he's a starter nonetheless because he can access 3 visits worst case. He also allows you to negate monster effects on the field. So sometimes, depending on the matchup, I'd rather leave him than Sun Mu. But this meta right now, Sun Mu's better because bouncing against Flunder's better. It's better against Prankets. It's better against combo like Dragon Link because removing the body from the field is better than negating it and leaving it there because it could still be used as a link material, a fusion material, XYZ, anything, you know. He negates, but he doesn't destroy. But I did use him to force a DPE early so that I can just keep playing. But with these guys, it's insane. These are also really, really easy access to your Bahamut Shark Totally Awesome lines, which is very convenient because people will make you go first all the time in this deck because they will see cards that literally require for your opponent to have monsters, and they'll make you go first because they thinking that you're gonna, you know, not have, basically you're gonna draw dead draws, but you're gonna side those out anyways and just put in hand traps for floodgates. It's insane. Just 3 visits plus either Sun Mu or Admiral Zhao will get you Bahamut Shark Told plus another interruption if you so choose. It's really, really strong. Prosperity just digs for everything. 3 visits is insane. The card just allows you to net so much advantage. Notably, you know, it doesn't stay forever. Second standby goes to the grave, but that actually benefits you. It actually did come up where I had to set a Lightning Storm. My summon got negated by a Solemn Judgment. I was playing against Stun. I activated this first, normal Sun Mu, he Solemn Judgment it. And then I ended up top decking into Prosperity, into Lightning Storm. And I had a face up, so I had the 3 visits. I'm like, dang, but it went to the graveyard automatically during the next second standby. I didn't activate his graveyard effect, and I just Lightning Stormed him, and it was game. So really, really convenient. And Tinky's Tinky, Fusion Destiny is Fusion Destiny. You know, no need to explain FD. But yeah, Tinky's really, really nice because it is a self-contained 1-card combo. Being that Tinky into Sun Mu or Admiral Zhao both adds them and lets you pay the cost with the same card that searched them, which is really convenient. Admiral Zhao is just really, really good, honestly. The card is insane. Like, these are the best cards. Like, they're so powerful. The cards that you can access off of Sun Mu, Lu Juan, and Zhao are so powerful. And granted that it's all main deck threats. It's just insane how good this archetype is. I really like this deck a lot. It's very fun. And then I played 3 Loyal Guan. So if depending on the circumstances, I either summon him attack to try and force the Wandering Dreams to activate because this out the barrier statue, or I summon him in defense. Ask, do they have a response on summon? They say no. I say, okay, activating effect. And they're like, let me read. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. And if they don't have a negate or like a Veiler or anything, I just pop the Impin. And typically, you know, like if they either read it and it forces them to immediately Mega Rise at him, which is very, very convenient because this does come up where you'll summon him in D, you're going to try and out-imp him, but on summon, they read his effect, they Mega Rise at him back to your hand, then you activate talents, back to the top of your deck, you activate triple attack his talents, draw him, and then you special summon him again because he is not an activated effect to summon him, it's an inherent summoning condition like Cyber Dragon. The only effect that activates is his effect to target a monster on the field and destroy it. So it's like a kind of like a Pankratops, but a little bit better because he is a material that also makes double Dragon Lord. And he puts in a crap ton of work. And his protection is actually insane. He protects all of your other Ancient Warriors from being targeted by card effects, which is insane. So when you put this guy out and they try and Mega Rise a multiple, they can only target this guy. He's the only one that can be targeted. It sucks that you can't get 2 because you would have kind of like a dupe block for targeting, but he's very insane. He performs extremely well in that matchup. He's good against combo. You get Scythe Locked. You can literally just clear their field and end on negates. It's just so good. This card is just everything. It's another wind extender that lets you get the double Dragon Lords. So in theory, it's like another starter. It's just crazy. The card just pops. It's huge. It's a free summon. It's incredible. It's really, really good. I'm also playing 3 copies of Lu Feng. This is actually Lubu. Lubu's the man, you guys. Like Lubu, he's my favorite, bro. Lubu's insane. I love this guy a lot. But oftentimes, if I want to use like hand traps or I want to use DPE, he's just an extender. In the worst case scenario, he's literally an inherent summon that doesn't activate just like Loyal. This guy also performs extremely well. Like I talk about Flunder a lot because at the locals I go to, everybody plays Flunder. And if now, when I went to go get my structure deck today, I saw everybody at locals playing the branded deck. I don't know how long that hype's going to last, but it looks like a lot of the Flunder players are playing branded. And this deck, conveniently, is actually very, very powerful against the branded deck. Just blind second, no hand traps, nothing. It's extremely good at breaking boards. And for boards to not have a massive amount of negates, but just spot removals or a solid kind of firm grip of control, it's not very good against Ancient Warriors. This deck is just a powerhouse. It honestly, it just clears boards naturally. It's so good. This card's just a non-targeting pop every single turn. He's a 28 beat stick under Double Dragon Lord. This is a 3300 beater. The card's absolutely insane. He helps you to go into Dark Charmer, which I should have played in my extra deck today because it would have came up like 3 times if I was playing Dark. I could have summoned him, made Dark, and then just use Dark to grab a DPE and just keep it. It would have been so much better, to be honest. But yeah, Lubu's still the man, you guys. Card's absolutely insane. I wouldn't play any less than 3 because it also just helps you to push more. Worst case, make you a Verde if you're going first. Because don't forget, if you activate him, that whole turn, only Ancient Warrior monster effects can be activated. So you just gotta be careful. So that's the one of the only conflicting things with this deck is if you choose to use him, you can't even activate hand traps. So you really gotta consider. I mean, Lubu's a beast. You know, it's a really good interruption. Like, I use this a lot against Flunder. I just summon him in D. After they've already, like, this guy will force Dreaming Town to go Ryza. You know, your normal summon kills the Barrier Statue. Because that's the convenient thing is, like, you force them to Mega Ryza you. And if they have just Trap and not Field Spell, you force them to Mega Ryza you. And then you still have your normal summon in Lubu. So you can just normal, you know, special Lubu, pop the Imp because you can't attack it, obviously. It's just freaking insane. And then your normal summon kills the Barrier Statue, you know, and you can just play after that. It's insane. We also have Caldi. Now, this card is very broken. Even though I don't play Dark, this guy is basically any attribute charmer. He literally just brings back any monster from your opponent's graveyard. This card's insane. He can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. He's like a baby Dragoon. He steals monsters. He's just broken. You can literally pay cost with the monster that killed something. It's this guy and this guy. These guys are just everything. These guys are really, really clutch tech cards. They're freaking insane. Fearsome puts in mad work. This card is a lifesaver. It helps so much, you guys. This card, it's just literally like the fire attribute Ancient Warriors are like probably the most aggressive ones. I really, really like them a lot. Their effects are just freaking insane. And I can't wait for this deck's new support. It's actually getting a new spell, which solves so many problems. So I don't have to play Tintu. And it also is getting a new monster, which is insane. Like a DD Crow and a freaking Upstart Goblin every turn. And then I'm playing 1 copy of Valiant. Valiant he's kind of like a pseudo UCT. He's not as good, but he can just clear a few monsters for you. He gains a lot of attack. He's massive. He's not an inherent summon. He is an activated effect. So he can trigger your Admiral Zhao, and he can trigger your Sun Mu. And it's just these guys right here put in a lot of work. Like, these are one of the reasons why you don't really need an extra deck, because these are the boss monsters, you know? Double Dragon Lords is convenient, but you don't really need him unless you just didn't draw good enough, and you kind of have to make a bad hand playable with his search. I played 2 copies of Ingenious. I didn't set it up today, but it's actually really, really easy. There's like 2 and 3 card combos that can do it, where you can set up Virtuous with him. You'll have Spell Trap negate, Monster negate, you have a bounce, and another Monster Compulse off Sun Mu, which is just a pure Ancient Warrior board, no DPE, no nothing. You can also just Scythe Dagda people with DPE with this deck, because this deck just extends so much, has so many just inherent special summons, and it's very explosive, but the pure boards are always more honorable and valiant. You know, you just got to play the Ancient Warriors the way they're played. We have 1 copy of Eccentric, so I really don't use them that lot, but the thing that I like about it most is like this deck doesn't really have a lot of ways to interact with back rows for its archetype specific, you know, cards. So I always like them as a clutch one-up just to be able to search, to be able to pressure back rows every turn, and it helps me to grind better against trap decks. Double Dragon Lords is kind of crazy, but like these are the cards that really, the only cards that really work against trap decks. Other than that, like the cards that help you the most are going to be these guys. This, because it's really hard for trap decks to out him. He can also special summon Golden Lords and keep them forever. This guy, because he literally pots back rows. And then these guys just help you to negate them or clear them. The only other cards that help you is going to be East by South Winds, which we're getting to in a second. But yeah, this guy also allows you to recur your Ancient Warrior spells and traps. It doesn't come up as much, but with some of the one-ups, I really do like getting Burrowing back sometimes, because Burrowing really helps me push. It's an insane card, honestly. These are the DPE bricks. For the hard-going second cards, even though the Ancient Warriors have a lot of going second cards already with just their actual archetype, I do play more. Like I told you, I play no hand traps, so I actually play 3 alpha. Card is just gas, you guys. This card is just crazy. It's insane. It's really, really powerful. We have 3 copies of Droplets. We have 3 talent. like I said, it's really, really funny, that interaction that I mentioned where you summon Loyal, they rise it back to the top of your deck, and then you just challenge draw it and summon it again, and it's like, what happened to your Riser, bro? Like, your Riser just upstar goblin me, basically, and we're back to square one. It's really, really convenient. But Talents is insane, you guys. These are a lot more impactful than hand traps. And the only reason why my deck can get away with this without playing hand traps is because I don't care about side block, I don't care about Lantia, I don't really care about inboards, even combo decks inboards. Unless you have Herald of Perfection with like 7 negates or something like that, you know, this deck just doesn't care. East by South wins, the most insane going second card in the entire deck. This card's graveyard effect it's everything. Your opponent can't activate cards or effects in response to the activations and effects of your Ancient Warrior cards. And also, your Ancient Warriors gain an additional nutty effect. When they declare an attack, you can pop a card that your opponent controls, non-targeting, and they can't respond because of its protection effect. So it's literally just cracked. Like, against trap decks, you just resolve this and just poke and just clear their back rows, force them. This card's just broken, you guys. Half the time, I activated this card's effect. I'm like, affecting grave. They're like, yeah. And I'm like, all right. I start activating stuff that like Ash on the Sun Moon. I'm like, no, you can't do that. And then they pick it up and read it, and they're like, oh. And I'm like, yeah. And it's way too late to respond, bro. People don't read cards, and they don't respect the deck enough to read its cards anyways. Burrowing is like a bridge between my it's like a bridge between Sun Mu and also Admiral Zhao. So typically, what I'll do is I'll 3-visit Zhao. So I'll go Zhao, send 3-visit. Well, I'll search the Sun Mu first. So I'll go Sun Mu, you know, 3 visits target him. I'll go Admiral Zhao, 3 visits target him, add Sun Mu, and then I'll go his effects, send 3 visits, at this, bring out the Sun Mu, use Sun Mu, you know, and I'll get out Ingenious, and this ends up replacing itself and going back into another 3 visits. So it's like a nifty little combo where like you can basically go in a circle and get back to 3 visits, and it kind of mitigates the cost because if you have different attributes and you send this for the cost of one of your Ancient Warriors, it literally just puts another card back into your spell trap zone to just keep paying costs for your guys. And it actually has a really clutch effect to half attack and give you that other half, which is really, really cool. And then we also have Sun Lu Alliance. So this card's almost as good as East by South Winds. It's just more of a setup required. You have to have, you know, 2 Ancient Warriors with different attributes. So you kind of have to be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit to do this, or you can just go normal, special, and boom. You know, if you get that far and you just hard drew this, you can just normal and then special any of your big guys. This can declare any attribute, and your opponent cannot activate monsters that they control with the attribute that you declared, which is freaking insane. The other thing that's insane is they get new support that lets you change attributes. This card just it's kind of crazy. So if you can tell, like, a lot of these cards are just designed for breaking boards. You know, this is like the best call by the grave ever if you're going first. It's like Meltdown, but for every kind of effect, not just fusion summoning. So this can be used going first. That's why when I go first, I don't side this out at all, because it lets me play through Ash, Gamma, all of them, because they can be activated. But if you guys can clearly tell, like, the way the archetype's designed, it's just meant to be like one of those decks where you just want to go second, because if you don't go second, there's so many cards that you can't use from your own deck, and it kind of just sucks. And it's less consistent, and it can't push through as many hand traps when you don't go second. So you kind of don't have a choice, but you do, because I have me going first list. They just don't get the full benefit of the entire archetype. That makes sense. Only card I made, card's cracked. Tri-Brigade plays this, but it's so insane in its own deck. If you guys can't tell, this is actually... So, from what I was told, I believe Ingenious was supposed to help Lu Zhuan, but he would not help him unless Lu Zhuan did 3 visits. Like, visited him 3 times. But these guys are the Double Dragon Lords, if you guys didn't know. And funny enough, his effect only works when he's on the field, his monster negation. So these guys are just meant to be together. And you see on the artwork, they are the Double Dragon Lords. Card searches, it's an interruption every turn. It pumps your guys up to do OTKs a lot more frequently. Plays around skill drain, cards, just everything. It's mainly the card that I summoned. It's literally insane, you guys. It's an interruption, it's follow-up, it's just broke. Verde, Dagda, because I sideboard Scythe when I'm going first. I play Summon Limits and Scythe when I go first, and Anti-Spell. I just like Floodgates in this deck better than Hand Traps, because, like, people, even if they side cards that out Floodgates, I can always set up Ingenious to have a spell or trap negate, which is really, really convenient for me. So I can always protect my Floodgates with Ingenious, and, like, if I have Summon Limit Ingenious, like, that one Cosmic or Twin is just not going to do it, so I just automatically win the duel. And we have Goddess. This is just so I can out Towers S monsters. Like if I play, because I don't play hand traps, so I have to be able to out the Ignister monster, the Towers guy, and other cards like that. Zeus, Double Toad, one Bahamut Shark, Abyss Dweller. We have the Bahamut Shark's probably the rank 4 that I make the most besides Maguska. Dweller's not. It's just so many Flunder at my locals, you guys. There's too many Flunder players, and most of the guys that play Flunders are the same guys that were playing Stun like a week before. Then we have Emerald, Tiger King, and DPE. Emerald's really, really clutch. I like him for the grinds when it does come up because I get to put back my Ingeniouses so I can keep resolving him and other cards like that. DPE is just, I just feel like it's a necessary evil. Like, the deck's better with it than it is without it, to be honest. But you still, like I said, you really don't need your extra deck regardless. But thank you guys so much for watching the deck profile. God bless you. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content. Definitely try this deck out. Practice with it before the new support comes out because it's going to get a lot better. But you want to get accustomed to playing this deck before the new support comes out. So it's not really going to be hard for you to adjust. But anyways, peace out, y'all.